What's going on, guys? I hope you guys are having a good day. I felt the need to kind of hop in here real quick and talk to you for a few minutes. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am a black man who's trying to do a couple of things right before I get old and die and go crazy and whatever. But anyway, I wanted to talk about something that is a sensitive topic right now, particularly since there's so much happening in the world around this issue. A lot of you have seen what's going on with this thing called the Me Too movement and stuff like that. A lot of you have seen what's going on with sexual assault. Most of us agree. I hope most of us agree that sexual assault is wrong, that it's not cool. You should not ever support anybody who does that kind of thing to another person. That's abundantly clear. I hope so. If we can't start the conversation there, then I don't know what to do. What's going on, Jade? How are you, sister? I hope, is that the same Jade I saw at the All Black National Convention? If so, so good to see you again. And as I told you guys at the convention, this is a year-round discussion. This is not, this is not just sort of a one-time thing. The convention, by the way, was the most successful All Black National Convention we've ever had. It was amazing. The energy was high. If you were there, say something in the comments so everybody else will know how great it is so that they can come to the next convention next year. So anyway, okay. So here's the thing. All right. So, I was sitting here and I was just watching all the stuff with the stuff with the Kavanaugh hearings and all that stuff, right? And, and I'm not even really here to tell anybody what their opinion on Brett Kavanaugh should be. I don't care one way or the other, honestly, in terms of what you think. I will never stop being friends with you or stop. Jade says she's still high off the A, B, and C. Oh, thank you, sister. I appreciate that very much. I'm so glad you got what you were looking for. Dr. Shauna was also speaking, and I see Dr. Shauna in the comments as well. I will never stop being your friend because of who you voted for, and I know that that's not a popular opinion. People are supposed to just attack each other, dog each other out, hate each other, and all this other stuff. I'm not into that. I'm not big on hate. I'm really not big on hate. I'm big on black love. Black love is my thing. And in case you guys don't know, just yesterday when we were doing our a live stream conversation, we all decided within that live stream that October 1st is going to be Black Love Day, National Black Love Day. So mark it in your calendar. Everybody put it in your calendar so that none of us forgets. Because I said, you know what, Black love should have a holiday. Like they give holidays to George Washington and Christopher Columbus and all these other, these other imaginary heroes, right? Christopher Columbus ain't even real. It's like Easter Bunny Day or something. So I said, well, why don't we have National Black Love Day? We need to have a Black Love Day. And do we wait for the government to tell us what days we can celebrate? No, fuck that. Excuse my French. No, we are the government. We are the United States of Black America, and therefore and then some of y'all are overseas, so y'all y'all honorary members. So yes, October 1st is National Black Love Day, and I'm gonna talk about it all year long because Black love never takes a holiday. Black love should never take a break. And but October 1st is going to be the day where we're going to find somebody we love who's Black and let them know how much we love them and celebrate them and exalt them and give them their flowers in life, not on their grave. Don't give them the flowers when they die. Give them their flowers while they're alive. So anyway, let me talk about this for a second. This is a topic that I think is very important. It's one that I think can help a lot of people. It's one that I think you should be sensitive to and kind of think about. It has to do with, with this whole sexual assault conversation, right? We've seen what went down with Bill Cosby. We see what's going on with this whole Brett Kavanaugh situation. We see what's going on with the Me Too movement and all of that, right? Now, y'all know my opinions on a lot of these issues. I'm very open with my discussions, but one of the things I think that where this conversation has to start when you talk about sexual assault is it has to start with, number one, us agreeing that, sexual assault is wrong. We all know that. And then second of all, I think we can all agree that sexual assault happens too much. There's too many kids, being molested and raped and things like that. There are too many people, too many women that are going through, hell because of what they had to experience. There are too many situations where people are getting away with things that they shouldn't have gotten away with. And that's something that, we know is abundantly true. I also think that, that as Black people, we have the double-edged sword of protecting rights and justice at the same time. So the Bill Cosby conversation became very complicated because it was very difficult to talk about the truths and the nuances of the Cosby case without people somehow thinking that you were saying that Cosby was innocent. I never said Cosby was innocent. I just said he was not guilty. I never said he was innocent. I said he was not guilty. Those are two different things in the eyes of the law. Being not guilty does not mean you're innocent. It means that there's not enough proof beyond a reasonable doubt to send you to prison. So again, and I think also there are honest discussions where people say, well, yeah, we understand your reasons why you did not report the crime for 30 years. And we understand the emotional reasons why you might have still kept going to his house, still telling your friends that you were buddies with him, still taking his money. We understand all the emotional reasons why, but because we believe women are equal to men and women are just as strong as men, and women are equally capable of communicating themselves as men and equally capable of, reporting and talking and letting people know what happened to them, then we have to put the same standard there. The same standard is that I, as a Black man, if I am a victim of a crime, and I don't report that crime, I can't come back and report the crime 30 years later and expect you to believe me, even if I have no evidence. That wouldn't make any sense, right? I can't come back 30 years later and say, well, here, let me give you a list of reasons why as a Black man, I'm not capable, because out of fear, because I'm weak, because I'm incapable of speaking up for myself. I can't come back 30 years later and say, as a Black man, there's reasons why we don't report crime, and this is why you should believe us, right? So you might believe my reasons why I was scared to report the crime, but you still can't believe me when I say that the crime happened, because people lie, right? People lie, and you have to protect everybody's rights until you're sure of what actually occurred, right? So I think that is kind of one of those nuanced things. Smart people will get it. The smart people in here get it. The people who are overly emotional or just flat out dumb or racist or ignorant or whatever, they're not going to understand. And so that makes it okay in my mind for some people to just get pissed off and to just say, oh, damn you, Dr. Boyce, I just hate you because I think that you're supporting sexual assault. No, just all these things that are just dumb, like things that just aren't true, right? So anyway, let me talk about this. Let me talk about this from a campus perspective. Now, the Kavanaugh situation is interesting because it's happening, on a lot of campuses. These conversations about, the drunken party where somebody got assaulted and somebody goes and reports it and everybody's supposed to believe it no matter what. I think that's a problem because that's not right. That's not due process. And in some cases that it's just not true. There was a story last year in Rolling Stone magazine that was a very big story, one of the biggest stories in the nation. And it was a big feature expose they wrote called, I think it was called A Sexual Assault on Campus. And it was all about, I think, the University of Virginia campus. And what they did was that they went and they interviewed one young lady who said I think she said she was gang raped at a frat party. And so they wrote this big article. It was all over the place. Of course, there was outrage. I mean, who wouldn't be outraged about sexual assault? It's a terrible thing. So everybody was outraged. I think if I'm not mistaken, I think the president of the university had to resign. I know that the fraternity was kicked off campus. They went and they were ready to put some guys in handcuffs. I know they expelled some guys from school, all of that. And the local police did something that was very unpopular. The local police did something that nobody would do in this day and age. They did something that would seem insane to the people that are sort of going along with the bandwagon. You know what they did? They said, okay, well, let us investigate. Let us go find out. Let us go confirm that a rape actually happened. And so the police went and they looked around and they said, okay, well, what weekend did this happen? When did this occur? She said it was at a party on this date. And they went back and they checked around and they said, well, this fraternity, there was no party this weekend. In fact, there was no party the entire month. Like, so what are you saying? So the event at which you're saying this thing happened did not occur. The event itself never happened. Not the rape, not to say that the assault didn't happen, but they're saying this party where you're saying the assault occurred, there was no such party, right? So even on a basic foundational level, Rolling Stone magazine did not even take the time to research to see if this student's, words were corroborated. Like if even the basics, okay, you say Todd Smith assaulted you. They didn't even go talk to Todd Smith. They didn't even go. And what was interesting, here's where this shows just kind of how crazy the environment's gotten. They didn't ask any of the accused if they actually did it because they felt that would somehow be unfair to the victim. They didn't even confirm who the victim actually was. The victim could have been somebody who's getting lied on in that moment, who's going to have their lives ruined because somebody wanted to make up a story. They didn't even question the alleged victim. They didn't even ask her any hard questions, like, okay, can you prove this? What evidence do you have? They didn't answer that because they sort of put that under the cloak of victim blaming. But the problem is, the reason you can't call it victim blaming is because you don't even know who the victim is. If I come up to you and I say, let's say I robbed the guy down the street, and I come up to you and I'm trying to cover my own ass, and I say, that son of a bitch, he pulled a gun on me. And you say, oh my goodness, I need to go and arrest him. And I'm not going to ask you any more questions because I don't want to victim blame. So you go and you arrest the wrong guy because I went and told you a lie and used whatever privilege I had, whatever sort of connection I had to you to get you to make a fool out of yourself because you're arresting the wrong person. I'm the one who's supposed to be locked up, not him, right? But I went ahead and said, okay, I'm going to use my privilege to go and accuse him of something before I get accused of something. And what has often happened in many cases is this is why Black men have to be cautious and careful, is that there have been many, many cases in which a person lied about a sexual assault because it was something as basic as them not even wanting to admit that they had sex with a Black man. Like something as basic as, if my daddy finds out that I slept with that Negro, I'm going to get in trouble. So I need to tell my father he raped me. Now, it sounds crazy. It's like, why in the world would you ever lie on another person and say that this person raped you just to cover up the fact that you had sex with somebody? Well, I don't understand that logic. It doesn't make any sense, but it tells you that in this world, there are some crazy people, and crazy people make up lies. And there are crazy men who might assault a woman, and there are crazy women who will assault a man by lying on him. So I think that this belief that only men can be crazy and terrible and evil is a very ridiculous way of thinking. It's kind of crazy. It really highlights very clearly just how jacked up our society is, how backward we are, how primitive we are in our thinking. We literally have collectively about as much intelligence or analytical ability as animals half the damn time. So long story short, this is on my brain because I spent a lot of years on college campuses. A lot of y'all know this. I was a college professor at Syracuse University. I was on the faculty there for 13 years, and I've been teaching on college campuses for about 25 years. University of Kentucky, Indiana University, Syracuse University, the Ohio State University, the University of Rochester. I taught in China, which I'm actually going back to China this month. And I've taught in Europe. I taught kind of in a lot of places. Okay, so the point is that, with the sexual assault thing, college campuses are kind of the hotbed of the sexual assault thing. That story of the University of Virginia, that was a campus issue. The story, what was it? The Kavanaugh situation, that's a campus issue, right? Allegedly happened, in high school. And then there were people talking about what he did in college. It sounded like he was a drunken frat boy. He did a lot of drinking, and he was kind of getting out here, kind of wilding out a little bit. That's what people think they can do. They think, okay, I can go to college. White folks have this privilege. Black people, I don't think are as quick to think this way, but some of us still do. They tend to think like, okay, I can go to college. I can get as wild and crazy as I want, act a complete fool. And then everything just kind of washes away when I get older. When I get out of school, I can put on a suit and tie and all of that goes away and I'm good. Here's the problem. This is why young people got to listen to this. You got to pay attention. The problem is that you live in a different day and age now. You live in an age where there is digital technology. You live in an age where everything that you get videotaped doing is going to live forever. Everything you get photographed doing is going to live forever. And then also, if you did something wrong to another person, anything somebody says about you 30 years, 40 years later can still come back to haunt you. So you're older, college is 20 years, 30 years behind. You're trying to become a Supreme Court justice. You're trying to become CEO of something. And somebody comes back with a story about something that happened with you back when you're in college, that can derail everything. President Obama used to have this guy that was right next to him who was he was his body man, and he followed him everywhere. He was with the president on his hip everywhere he went. Everywhere he went, he was like his guy. And this brother lost his job because somebody came out and from his days in college where he was partying and drinking and everything else. And let me see if I can find this story. He had to quit because somebody had taken a picture of him drunk, passed out, and the guy had his balls on the guy's face. Like he was laying there, and I don't know exactly why, because I mean, he was sleeping, right? Like I'm not sure why you get fired for this, but I think it kind of shows like just kind of like this other side of him. And I think it was a gay fraternity, and there was a picture of where some guy had put his balls on his forehead or something. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find the picture. Reggie Love. That's it. Reggie Love. That was the guy's name. Let me see if I can find this picture. It was crazy. Let me see. Okay. Let me see if I can find the picture that they. Hopefully, it's not. let me see if I can. Okay. The actual original picture isn't in here. But I'll show you the image of Reggie, and him and Obama were real close. And let me see. I'll show you this image. Let me see. So that's Reggie Love, right? So those of you on Facebook, I got my phone up, so I'm gonna flip my phone around. Here you go. So that's Reggie Love, and that's him and Obama kind of hanging out, buddied up. And yeah. So there was apparently this picture of Reggie Love in a very compromising position with some guy's balls on his forehead. And so anyway, so basically what you do when you're young stays with you. It can destroy your reputation. I think alcohol is really just something that's just not good to get into on that level. I personally don't drink at all because if I'm going to do something stupid and go down for something stupid I did, I want to at least know what I did and remember it. I have a lot of friends who drink a lot, and they're not necessarily doing well. They're in, most of my friends who drink too much, they experience some consequences from that. And what I saw on college campuses, it's not politically correct to talk about personal responsibility. People don't like to hear about personal responsibility this day and age. They think it's a Republican topic. I think it's just a common sense topic. But, here's the thing. When I was on these campuses, I saw a lot of people doing a lot of things that they would be really embarrassed by, and they were doing these things while they were drunk. I'm talking male and female. I saw people, some people, mess around. They're sleeping with people they wouldn't normally sleep with when they get drunk. They're letting people gang bang them while they're drunk. They're, beating people up while they're drunk. Some people assault people while they're drunk, sexually and otherwise. I've seen people just do things that are embarrassing. Let me tell you a story. One time I remember a few years ago when I used to write articles for Your Black World, there was a lawyer, a Black female lawyer, esteemed lawyer, established, like really successful young woman, kicking ass, about 30-something years old. And she emailed us and begged us to take down a story that we had put up about her. And the story, and I was like, well, what story is this? I looked it up. One of the bloggers had written about it. And basically this lawyer got drunk. And when she got drunk, she was in a store just acting belligerent, and the police came. The police were going to lock her up and take her away. And she's on video saying, eat my pussy. And she took her panties off and threw her panties at the police officer, like threw her panties at the police. This was a lawyer, like literally was like, eat my blankety blank. And y'all motherfuckers are dead, blah, blah, blah. And just really acting insane, while she was drunk, while she was under the influence. And so here she was a few days later emailing us, begging us to take down this picture, like, or take down this article. Like, please take it down. I'm losing clients. It's so hard. My law firm's suffering. And we took it down. We felt bad for her. But those white people ain't going to take it down. They don't care nothing about you. I'm sure the New York Post and whoever else wrote about the story, they didn't have anything. I'm sure they didn't take it down. And I think that, sometimes young people are never taught that, that part of the reason people make a lot of dumb decisions is because of alcohol. Like alcohol was actually ruled or found to be in a study. Alcohol was found to be the most dangerous drug in the world. More dangerous than crack, more dangerous than heroin, more dangerous than crystal meth. The reason it was found to be more dangerous than all those heavy drugs is because alcohol leads to more death than the other drugs. Alcohol leads to more broken families than the other drugs. Alcohol leads to more economic losses than the other drugs. Alcohol is incredibly destructive. And so going back to this topic of the whole Kavanaugh thing and all of that, you know, there's a study that says that I think about 89%, if I'm not mistaken, 89% of the sexual assaults that occur on campus have alcohol involved, 89%. So what happens, you get a young 18, 19-year-old who's filled with testosterone. He's horny as hell already. Penis gets hard in a second. He's ready to go. And then he's drunk. And when he's drunk, he's feeling like Superman. And as Superman, he's misinterpreting, you know, the lady's signals. He's thinking, oh, she really wants me. She really wants it. All this other stuff. Now, of course, you know, I mean, a rapist is a rapist. We know that. But I'm going to tell you, I really believe that there are a lot of people who get involved in situations like that who might not do the same thing if they were sober, who wouldn't be necessarily as aggressive if they were sober. Now, everybody wants to make it simple. Like they want to say, oh, no, it's just bad people and good people and not. Yeah, sure, absolutely. There's some people out there that are just bad, that are going to rape no matter what. And those people, I can't do nothing about those people. That's why it's stupid when you tell men, well, you need to teach men not to rape. You can teach them all day. They already know how not to rape. They just are choosing to do it anyway. So you got people out there that's going to do it no matter what. You got people out there that's going to get into it no matter what. I ain't talking to those people. What I'm talking about are those people where maybe there's another side of you that comes out when you're drunk that may not come out when you're sober. There's a level of, now pay attention now, because pay attention. This tells you how bad your decision making is when you're drunk. Pay attention now. Listen to this. When women are drunk and they choose to have sex with a man, there are people who consider that to be a form of rape. They consider it rape if you sleep with a woman who sleeps with you when she's drunk, even if she says, I'll do it. Why do they do that? What do they say? What is the logic? The logic is, well, she was incapacitated, so she didn't know what she was doing. She can't control her decision-making when she's drunk. She's not able to make accurate or rational decisions because she's under the influence. So if women cannot make rational, accurate decisions when they're heavily under the influence, then why should men be able to do that? Unless you somehow assume men are superior to women. Unless you somehow assume that men are better capable of making sound, rational decisions than women, which would be in contrast to the feminist narrative, right? The feminist narrative is that men and women are the same. Men and women are equally intelligent, right? So if you assume that a drunken woman has no responsibility for the choices she makes while she's under the influence, then you cannot make the assumption that a drunken man has full responsibility for his decision while he's under the influence. My argument is everybody's drunk and they're young and stupid at the same time. That's a combination, or that is a deadly combination that ultimately is the formula for very bad outcomes. That is the formula for devastation. You know, so your daughter goes off the campus, you know, and she's going to the party and she gets drunk off her ass and decides somehow there's a part of her deep down that's like a super freak that wants to sleep with 5 guys at the same time. And they're videotaping this and she's half drunk and she's getting in it and doing all this crazy stuff, everything else. And then after it's over, she comes to you and says, well, Daddy, they raped me because I was drunk and they gave me liquor and to drink and they didn't make me drink it, but he talked me into it. You know, he pressured me into drinking. So that's why I drank. And now I'm a rape victim. Well, I mean, yeah, maybe, okay, you are, maybe you're not. I don't know. You decide what that is. But what I would definitely say to my daughter is like, you know, stay out of those situations. Don't mess with that alcohol. And then if your son is the guy on the other side who's saying, no, Dad, she was drunk and she was drunk off her butt and she was doing all this stuff and we pulled it out and she was grabbing every penis in sight and she was in it. She was participating. Man, we was all drunk. I don't even remember it, half of it. Well, I would say to my son, you know, you should probably stay away from that alcohol. Malcolm X used to say that the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then lock you up for being drunk. They'll encourage you to do things that will ruin your life, and then they'll condemn you for ruining your life. They will put things in front of you at the age of 18, the tender age of 18, that will destroy you. They make you believe, they make your children believe that when they go to college, that it's normal to go out on a Thursday night, drink until you vomit, until the green lining in your stomach is the bile is coming out when you vomit because your stomach lining has been worn into. And do God knows what that you don't even remember. They make it seem like it's normal to do that and then go out and do it the next day. And then the next day. Like I think about that song. I remember that Gucci Man song called Wasted. Y'all remember the song Wasted? Rockstar lifestyle, might don't make it. Gucci Man, he's not that smart. But might don't make it. They're talking about being wasted 24 hours a day and then do it all night. And then the next morning start drinking again. That's the culture. That's the culture that's fed to young people on college campuses. And I fought this culture big time. When I was at Syracuse, I raised hell about that. I said, why is it that this university, at Syracuse University, why are we more known for how many alcoholics we produce than we are for how many Rhodes Scholars we produce? Why are we known as a school where it's easier to find a drunken party than it is to find young people in the library? Why is it that we got more old alcoholics come out of the school than we got college graduates? That's crazy to me. That's crazy. And I spoke up on that. And I remember I got a ton of pushback. Oh, well, you're not having fun. You're not letting the young people just be young. I'm like, look, motherfucker, I'm Black. I knew from the jump. I knew from day zero that my margin of error was much thinner than everybody else. I grew up in a household where I was told that if you go out here and get stupid and get arrested and do something dumb, your Black ass gonna be up in jail. Little Billy, little Bobby, the white boys you got in trouble with, they gonna call their parents and they gonna snitch on your ass so they can get out. They gonna get out of the situation. The judge gonna look at them and give them a different treatment than he's gonna give you. So your little Black ass will be sitting up in jail getting raped by Big Tyrone because you're stupid. Because you don't know how to make good decisions. So I was told that at an early age. So I was like, no, for the Black children on this campus, we must be clear that all their actions have consequences and they cannot go through life thinking that they're white. I had a friend I grew up with him real close, almost like brothers. And we got to college and he was a little less Black than me. He kind of thought the Blackness thing was not cool. He was even avoiding me in adulthood because he thought I was too radical. But this poor guy didn't know who he was, loved the white girls, and all this other stuff. Went off to college, joined a white fraternity, and was getting into all kinds of crazy shit with the white boys. All kinds of alcohol, drugs, all of that. Getting locked up, all of that. And years later, he was still a drug addict, still an alcoholic, had a criminal record, and it just made me think about how he did not learn that when you're Black, you ain't got to do all this stuff. Just because you think that white people are better than you, I guess some of y'all think that you shouldn't emulate their behavior. Everything they do ain't perfect. In fact, most of what they do ain't perfect. And so I personally think that if you really wanted to address the sexual assault problem, you would also address the personal responsibility problem. If you really wanted to address the rape issue on campus, you would address the binge drinking issue on campus. Because if 89% of the sexual assaults that happen on campus are linked to alcohol, then why would you not clamp down on the alcohol? It's not a problem with people drinking. I will never condemn you if you drink, just so you know. In fact, I'm in love with a wonderful Black woman. She likes to drink. I've never said a word to her about it. Never said a word. Only thing I'll say is, baby, I think you need me to drive you home tonight. That's it. That's the most I will ever say. But I will tell you this, if she was an alcoholic, if she was a heavy binge drinker, I would probably have reconsidered joining the relationship because I've seen too much devastation around alcohol. I've seen too many Black men get shot down over alcohol, where everybody's liquored up, feeling like a thug, feeling like a gangster, feeling like you Tupac, and you run around thinking you're Superman. I've seen too many people become alcoholics in my family. I've seen Black men abandon their own children because they're alcoholics, where your son got to come home and see his daddy lay face down in the grass. I've seen people, get into horrible situations because of alcohol, do things they normally wouldn't have done, either become a victim of a crime or a perpetrator of a crime. And so, I will tell you this, And some people think that you can't control what students do. You can never control their behavior. I think that's bullshit. I was on college campuses and those students listened to me. The young people I talked to were looking to me for guidance. When they came to me and they would say, what should I do? How should I live my life? And here's the thing, I can't stop them from making a bad decision, but I can be the person who at least makes sure they can never go through life saying nobody warned them or that nobody told them. And so when students would come to me, I would just say, you really don't have to do what everybody else is doing. You really can be yourself. It's really okay for you. If you go to these parties and you're not having fun, it's really okay for you to leave the party and go to the library. You do know that, right? And you know what would happen? A whole lot of the students would say, yeah, you're right. I don't even like going to these parties anyway. They're boring. I'm sitting around holding a drink and I don't even want to be around those people. You see the same people at every party. And I said, no, ask yourself, why do you go to these parties? And a lot of times the reason they go is because everybody else does it. Everybody else goes to the party. So they're like, that's what they think you're supposed to do when you're young. Think about this. When people talk about having fun when you're young, what are they talking about? Oh, he's on campus. He's partying. Partying was not fun for me when I was 19, 20 years old. It wasn't. I was like, man, this shit's boring. Alcohol tastes nasty. I don't want to be around here with my breath stinking, doing dumb shit that's going to get me locked up. I don't want to join, I didn't want to join the frats on my campus. I said, because these Negroes ain't going to have no future. Because all these niggas do is sit, I'm sorry, excuse my friend. That was my thinking, honestly. I was literally thinking that I was like, all these motherfuckers do is sit around and drink all day. Like, what the hell, man? Like, you drinking all day, you having sex with all these, with hundreds of girls. Like, dude, you gonna catch AIDS and die. Like, what the hell, man? Like, what future do you, and I was like, I want to be a baller. I want to be successful. I want to be a winner in my life. So being a winner to me meant I'm going to be alert. Number one, alcohol kills that. As a black man, I'm on the watch. I'm going to be an alcoholic and doesn't know what's happening around them. That's why people become victims of crime when they're drunk. If somebody want to rape you or assault you or beat you up or steal your shit, then they get you drunk, they can take all your stuff, right? So I was like, that ain't happening to me. I'm not a sucker. You're not going to catch me sitting around. Next thing you know, I'm like, I'm a victim. Someone stole my money. No. I'm alert. I'm going to be checking your ass out. I'm going to see you coming. You'll know not to mess with me, right? So ultimately, the thing is, people that become victims typically are people that are distracted in some way. They find some way to get your mind somewhere else so they can rob you over here. Seriously. Same, black people, black men, for example. Some men, we get drunk off of power. Maybe we get drunk off of money. Maybe we get drunk off of chasing women, right? And when they catch you slipping, that's when they come get you. Do you know how many stories I've heard about guys who got robbed because all they did was put a pretty girl in front of them and the girl would lure him back to the house and she had 3-4 cousins waiting to rob him as soon as he got naked? You know how many gangsters have been shot up like that because they let their guard down? They got you high. They got you distracted. They found your weakness. And so ultimately, I always saw alcohol and alcoholism as a weakness for a man. So anyway, with that, to that point, I remember being on campus and it just didn't make any sense. I was like, okay, we're black. We're behind the 8 ball. We're struggling. We're trying to get ahead. They don't want us to win. They want to kill us. They want to stop us. They want to make sure we don't graduate. And y'all making it easy for them. Y'all making yourself sitting ducks. If you know that if you know an army is invading your family, do you tell your whole family to get drunk? No, you tell them to stay on the lookout, pick up guns, and get some information so they can defend themselves, right? So that was always my mindset. My mindset was like, I'm competing with this white man. He don't want me to win. He wants to see me fail. He wants to see me dead. He wants to see me in prison. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to outstudy him. I'm going to be focused. I'm going to be courageous. And I'm going to build my future right now. That was my mindset when I was 18, 19 years old. And that benefited me when I was 20, 30, 40 years old, later on down the line. A lot of my friends that were in college, all they spent their time doing was chasing women and drinking and chilling and doing nothing and being lazy and whatever. Those guys unfortunately become victims of white supremacy. Direct victims, easy victims. You ain't got no education. It was easy for them to outsmart you because you never learned how to think. So I'm not making fun of anybody or dogging you if you've made that mistake. A lot of people do because you're encouraged to do that. But I'm here to just encourage you to consider something else. So I think for your young people, when you send them to college, what I want you to do is kind of help them learn from all the other cultures. Like, for example, with some of the Asian students I knew, it wasn't a big deal for them to be in the library on a Saturday night studying until 2 o'clock in the morning. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not weird. You're not a nerd. You're not being extreme. You're not going overboard. You're just trying to be successful. That's what winners do. There's nothing wrong with saying, instead of going to the party, I'd rather go do something else. I'd rather go see my girlfriend, or I'd rather go and play basketball, or I'd rather go to a movie, right? There's nothing wrong with that. So I think, again, going to that initial premise, if they dealt with the binge drinking issue on campus, they would actually deal with a lot of the sexual assault problem on campus. So they'll never solve the sexual assault problem because they refuse to confront the binge drinking problem. If you took alcohol out of the equation, about 50% or more of the sexual assaults that occur would never have happened, right? Because number one, the victim would be more alert and the victim wouldn't be easily victimized. And then two, the perpetrator would be more alert to the consequences of his or her choices at that moment, and they would be less likely to do something so terrible to another person. But then again, there's always those people who are gonna rape no matter what, who are gonna make themselves victims no matter what, or who are gonna be in the situation no matter what. But the vast majority of people that are victims of crime, or when crime goes down, a lot of times there's usually some sort of substance that affects the thinking of the individuals involved. So anyway, that's it. That's all I want to share with you guys. Let me give you all the Black historical figure of this podcast. I'm going to share somebody with you. Here's a brother named Stephen Smith. Stephen Smith, these are the Black history people that you never learn about. So I decided I wanted to, after the convention, I want to help educate everybody on Black people we should know about, so you can get that George Washington crap out of your head. Stephen Smith was born in 1795. He died in 1873. His industry was lumber. Stephen Smith started a successful lumber and coal business. He also owned about 50 houses in Philadelphia, more in Lancaster, and Columbia, Pennsylvania in the 1840s. By 1864, Smith was worth $500,000 and was one of the wealthiest Black men in the United States before the Civil War. So even before the Civil War, Stephen Smith was doing very, very well. He's very, very wealthy. Now, let me tell you this. He was worth $500,000 right then. That doesn't seem like much now, maybe to some of you, but let me do a translation for you. What was $500,000 worth in 1864? Okay, let's see. Let's do a inflation calculator. Let's see here. $1864. All right. So the amount, 500,000. Let's change the end year to 2018 and calculate. So $500,000. Hold on. Here we go. Let me see. Here we go. $500,000 in 1864. Guess how much it is? Anybody guess? Can anybody guess how much money he was worth? Yeah, $500,000 in 1864. That is worth $15 million today. $15 million today. So he was doing extremely well. His name was Stephen Smith. So tell your children about Stephen Smith. This comes from the Melanated Moguls card collection, where we basically compiled all the Black historical figures that you never learn about in school. All of them are in business and economics and finance. And basically, like some of you might know, like Mansa Musa, some of y'all know him. Sheila Jackson, some of y'all may know Sheila Jackson. Wallace Amos from the famous Amos Cookies. And there's other people in here as well, Thomas Day, Stanley O'Neill, and others. So it's about 60, I think we put about 60 moguls in these cards. So if you want to get a set for your kids, you can actually go to melanatedmoguls.com. That's melanatedmoguls.com. Here's how you spell it, Melanated Moguls. So feel free to go check it out. It's a great educational tool for those who understand the importance of homeschooling your kids. It doesn't mean you shouldn't send them to public school. You can do that. But after they come home, you have to give them their real education, their Black education. You're not going to get Black education at a white school. So it's at melanatedmoguls.com. I'll type in the URL for those of you for asking about it. And also, if you want a free e-copy of my book, It Takes a Village to Raise the Bar, go to drboycewatkins.net. That's drboycewatkins.net. So, Lavelle, I hope you got the URLs, melanatedmoguls.com. All right, write that down. Somebody type it in. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Have a good day, and I'll see you soon. Be good. Peace.